God in heaven knows that I'm probably going to get some flag about this later on, but I gotta address this. So I know everybody is in an uproar right now about what Donald Trump posted on Truth Social. So apparently Donald Trump posted a video, and it was a screen recording, and he screen recorded people talking about, the graph from how the votes went back in 2020 between, him and President Biden. And then for a half a second, the video scrolled to a video. It will only show a half a second of it, of the Obamas depicted as apes. The screen recording was very random, and it was kind of out of nowhere. And now that screen recording has absolutely everybody in an uproar. Like, people can't stop talking about it. You got your Harry Sissons and Dean Withers having a field day talking about it. You got your Republicans denouncing Donald Trump because they saw the video and they didn't like it. Like, the only reason I ended up getting a hold of the video was because a Democrat friend of mine was showing it to me. So the first thing that I thought to myself is, I might need to look into this. I need to find out where this video or depiction of the Obamas as apes came from. Like, I gotta look at this. So I reached out to some friends to try and find the source of the video, like where I could actually find it. And they said, oh, just look on YouTube. I'm like, okay. And as you suspected, there's obviously way more context as to what was shown than what was seen in the half-second clip. So now this is what everybody was in an uproar about. You see Michelle and Barack Obama as apes. So this is what the social media saw. But what they didn't see is the full video within its context. Look at this. There you go, Hillary Clinton. There you go. That Hillary Clinton is a war hog. I forgot. Is that Hakeem Jeffries? I think. Yeah. So there you go. These Hillary Clinton as a warthog or whatever. Hakeem Jeffries is, I think that's a ferret. I don't know. More politicians. That's AOC. Okay, there you go. JB Pritzker as an elephant. These are all Democratic political figures. All of them. It wasn't just the Obamas. I think that's Mom Donnie. There's President. Okay, there you go. President Biden as a. So the Obamas weren't the only primates that were in this video, because now you see Joe Biden as a monkey. And, Kamala Harris is a turtle. Like, this is crazy. Don Lemon. And there you go. Here we go. Donald Trump is the lion. So out of all the animals that you see within this video, Donald Trump is the lion. And we all have this expression that the lion is the king of the jungle. But yeah, these are all Democratic politicians. There's Harry, I think that's Harry Sisson as a flamingo, or Dean Withers, or whatever. Oh, wait. Here we go. There's Whoopi Goldberg as a hippopotamus. So there you have it, the full context of what was in that video that they didn't show you within that half-second clip that they put on social media, is that the context of the video was Donald Trump was the king of the jungle. He is the king over all of these Democratic politicians that have a major issue with him. Like all of those Democratic political figures that you've seen, the Obamas, the Joe Bidens, the Kamala Harrises, the Hakeem Jeffries, the AOCs, the JB Pritzkers, all of them heavily criticizes Donald Trump. So the video was literally made to troll all of these Democratic politicians. And as you can obviously see, the Obamas not only weren't the only people that were in that video, they also weren't the only ones that was depicted as some type of animal. And they are for certain weren't the only black people that was in that video. But here's my question. When all of these media sources like TMZ ended up posting the half-second clip from the screen recording that was shown, how come they didn't show the full video? How come they didn't show all of this? How come they only showed a half a second of that video of Barack and Michelle as apes? It almost seems like that they didn't post the full video in order to run away with the idea that Donald Trump is trying to be overtly racist. Or at least give social media that idea anyway.
Thank you for joining me. Happy Monday, everybody. And I am choosing violence, but it's not going to be so violent because I actually know this person personally. We have debates about this stuff all the time. I was going to stay away from it, but when I saw it posted on social media and it's been shared, and I saw it, and you literally, this was a conversation we had, I'm pretty sure around that same time, where I pretty much laid pause into you the whole time. So let me give you my nuggets on social media. You literally said you're going to receive pushback on this, and you said God, man did not reveal this to you, but God did, because I am going to tear that whole argument, not you personally, into shreds. Your caption said people don't research, and that's why we come into this situation. Well, here's my thing about you in the research. If you'd have researched, you'd have known even the first thing with the context was the mail ballots, the voter fraud. How many courts said it was no fraud, no large fraud? It was possibly one of the most safe elections we ever had. That's because research would have told you that. The video shows counting ballots in LA and not even Georgia. And the voting booth was closed at 8, and they didn't even let anybody vote right at 8. So the video that they showed was already jacked. You didn't do research on that. So you showed that video, and then your context was, look how he showed everybody else as animals. They show everybody else as animals. Here's my thing. I really don't give a if they showed every other animal under the sun. Anybody with a little piece of a brain would not have aired a video with black peoples depicted as apes. That's what that was about. So that's what everybody with the brain, I guess that excludes Trump supporters. If you're not rich and you're a Trump supporter, then you are an idiot. That's me saying it. Anybody with a sense of brain would have said, in this time, during research, your words, not mine, you would have known that they have been depicting us as apes as long as the 16th century, the 17th century, when they deemed us to be less than human. And that gave them the reason to treat us as animals, not even regular slaves, because regular slaves were free after 7. They were never trying to get rid of you. They were never trying to get rid of you as being slaves. You would have been slaves forever. And people like this is the reason why slavery existed. They would have went against Nat Turner if they could. Harriet Tubman like, leave them there. Because you see this thing and you looked at everybody as the animal. I don't care if they had every Caucasian or white person as an animal. Once they depicted a black person as ape, that changed the game. Nobody under the sun would do that unless they were racist. And everybody, if you go back and look at the history of how he feels about Obama, there is no way. And to say he didn't even see it all, oh, he definitely saw it all. He's a malignant narcissist. He would have wanted to see himself as king of the jungle. He saw that. He didn't think it was going to be a problem. But once Republicans actually pushed back on the one thing that they should, not the Epstein files, not child PDFs, but this, they decided to push back on, and then you pull back and did not even apologize. Why you didn't say that? Anybody with a sense or with any dignity would have said, you know what, that was too far. I apologize for that. I apologize because as a leader, you apologize for the stuff your people do. If I'm a leader and one of my musicians punches somebody in another church, I, as a leader, have to apologize. So you made all this video saying, you see, if you look at context, we don't need a blanking context to understand that you don't put black people as apes regardless. You control, which is another thing. In what world is a 79-year-old man okay with trolling people? So we okay with this childish behavior, and defending it is really something that I'm looking side-eye. See, I know how to differentiate between my business and my personal. My business side can respect you, but my personal side won't. I can respect you as a player. I can respect you as this while not respecting you as this, because there is no way I can respect a black man that looks at that and says it's okay, defends it, defends pedophiles, defends all this stuff that's going on, and then try to stay on that side. So I have to toss you on that side with the rest. I love you here, but this side right here, this side right here, it's this side. Every week I struggle with this. If I don't struggle with nothing else, I struggle with the people in my circle that are okay with what's happening over here. And during Black History Month, this is done. There is no context that's needed. You don't do that. And as President of the United States, if you have a brain, which you don't, him and his followers don't have brains. But if you did, in some decency, seeing a black man being depicted as an ape should infuriate you. It should. Because it goes back to Jim Crow. It goes back to deconstruction. It goes back to the minstrel shows. It goes back further. If you watch these cartoons, Tom and Jerry, Bugs Bunny, even Mickey Mouse, I love my wife, but she loves Disney. If you go back there, every time they depicted a black man or a black woman, it was dark, real dark, big red lips, looking like what they tried to do here. So if you can't see that and you're okay with that, then you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem. So I hope that didn't offend anybody, but that was my public response to the foolishness. There is no context needed. No context. None. We saw the other animals, which was kind of discouraging there too. It was nasty. You had women depicted as pigs. You had Prisker depicted as an elephant. You don't think this was all strategic? Why you didn't have Prisker as a giraffe or a horse or something that's small? You depicted him as an elephant. You depicted that other chick that you call Piggy as a pig. Ain't nobody stupid up here. Only people that are dumb are Trump supporters. Period. Period. I wasn't even trying to get worked up. I just don't understand these people. Man, as a black man, I just don't understand us sometimes. I really don't. I'm not seeing black women by the droves over there. Is it because, he makes you feel good about being a man? The misogynistic person in you? You can't stand women in leadership? So now your opposition to leading women is to follow somebody like this? Newsflash, black women have been leading us for decades. We can have a discussion, but don't act like they ain't been leading you. Where have we been, black men? And I'm looking at you real side-eye. Some of y'all people wearing these red caps. I'm looking at you side-eye, but y'all all pretty much, outside of my friends that are rich, y'all all pretty much look the same. You carry the same. You carry the same. And here's the thing. Truth be told, the same people that you in these rooms with, chucking and jiving with, they would put something around your neck and walk you like a little dog if they could. They don't like you either. That's the news flash. So I'm looking real side-eye. You let these men attack our women. You let them be disrespectful to our women, and you just sit there and look and say, the way they disrespected Kamala Harris, no other woman in politics ever took that. But you let them do it, and you side with them, and then you laugh. I don't have respect for you in that regard. We're the only class of men doing this. The only ones. We the only demographic in this entire country that allows every other demographic to attack our women and disparage them and go at them in every way possible, and we side with them. I've never seen this. I've never seen that. So as a black man, we're not perfect, and neither are the women, to be fair. But I don't see them by the droves running to Massa and siding with them. But I see, when I go down my timeline, I'm seeing so many people okay with what he's doing and things he's saying, especially to our women, and not doing anything. So anyway, let's move on. Next thing I want to talk about is the music industry real quick. Saw a video, want to touch on it a little bit, and then we're going to move on with the show.
We have an understanding now that you can't make money from records. You have to be the 1% to make that money. The only way, this is what I'm hearing now, that you're going to make money in music now, is if you play live. That is it. Because that's the state of the business. If you don't play, it's very difficult for you to make money in this industry the way that it is right now. You got to go out and play. Sell your CD, sell your music that way.
Now, you heard what she had to say. Do you agree that the way the music industry is right now, and this is for my up-and-coming artists, and especially, you know, I do gospel music. I see a couple of jazz guys here and R&B guys. But do you think that touring or playing live is the only way you can make money in this business today? I think there are other ways, obviously, but I'm thinking she's speaking specifically to the artists. The only way you can really, really make money, because you used to make money when you signed as an artist, they give you a nice little chunk or whatever. Y'all keep spending that. That's actually, you have to pay that back. I don't think y'all know that. It's this thing y'all need to understand called recoupment. They give you an advance, and you take this million or whatever they give you, you be like, oh my God, I came up. You got to pay that back. That's how they lock you in. But that's another discussion. But do you think that this is a way, there's a way to make money outside of playing live? I know some of you, we had a discussion about marketing and everything else, and I had a brief discussion about this, but I'm wondering right now, as I look at the many artists that are coming up, and then every time I turn around and I see you release a record, I see you go to Apple Music, and those of you who know me, you know I've already said this about Apple Music alone. I always say you send your music to die. The music that some of you said God has given you, you spend money, you spend time, you go in the studio, you pay a mix engineer, you pay a mastering engineer, and then you pay somebody to do the artwork, and then you put it on social media, and then it goes straight here to, I'm surrounded by idiots, it goes straight here to die. And I don't think that's a good move for you. I've seen so much talent. I'm not going to get on here. Me and my wife probably do a show about what constitutes talent, because just because you have talent don't mean you have the it. American Idol is on, actually. Let's watch that later. I'm sure she's watching. Let's watch it later. But you have the talent. And I'm really thinking that you're playing live. I am going to do a live, and I think I'm going to do it very soon, on what I think an artist that wants to make it now, how they can go about What can they do? And I'm going based off of what I've seen, my experiences, and what I've looked, because I'm a data person. So I look at the numbers, I look at the data, I look at the information, and I try to analyze what I think the industry is going. The industry is going more tech. The industry is becoming more visual. I've been saying that for a while now, but it is way more visual now. And playing live is part of it. So I am going to do a live. I'm probably going to have my wife on here. We're going to talk about that aspect of it. And you got it? So let's see. You can bring me your ideas. I might open the lines and let you join. And let's do it. Let's do it. All right? Speaking of musicians and music, check this out.
The biggest difference between the musicians now and compared to the musicians that I came up with. We got corrected. We got criticized. We got embarrassed. But we were men. So we knew it wasn't meant to break us. It was meant to make us. We weren't in our feelings. We weren't soft as a Tom Ford suit. Nowadays, there's no correction because you guys can't take it. Everything got to be presented to you a certain way. Excuse me. You sound good, but wait. You're just a little busy. But hey, it's cool though. You still the greatest of all time. Get the fuck out of here with that. What? Man, you too damn busy. Deal with it. You don't like it, get off the bass and let somebody else play. Get out your damn feelings. Y'all soft as cotton. Y'all must be crazy. Everything got to be said to you a certain way. Who are you? That's what I want to know. Who are you? You know you're replaceable, right? Like, y'all got to get out your feelings. We were corrected all the time, embarrassed all the time. Get off the drums. What are you doing? Watch this person play because you can't do it. Reggie, what are you doing? When I want you to be funky, you pretty. When I want you to be pretty, you funky. Get it together in front of everybody. Once again, the biggest difference between now and then is we were corrected. Now you guys aren't because you can't take it. And it's hurting you way more than you can ever imagine.
Man, Reggie Parker, y'all need to follow him. You may not agree with him. You may not agree with what he's saying, but follow him. You might find something that he says that you might say, hey, yo, this is true. This is true. I'm reading Will Howard's post. But if you're going the artist route, you got to hit the road. Now, a very real issue is how expensive it is to tour. We're going to talk about it again. I'm going to have to revisit that. Me and the wife, we've been discussing that. But, yeah, here's the thing. When I will tell you a story. I probably told it before, but I'm going to tell it again. When I was about 20, I was in my 20s. I had the opportunity to play with one of the greatest musicians I ever met up to that point. His name is Max Frank. He was with Commission during their heyday, right? And I used to show up to his house and work out with him. I was actually around when he did that. He did a song that's on Dead Presidents. What's that, the LP or whatever, the soundtrack, the last song that's played, the Where's the Love? I was working with him when he did that. Those are pretty much, I think those are Chicago guys. Downtown Tony Brown, I think that's his name. They did some good work. So he was at some studio downtown. He was doing jingles, right? And he wanted me to play some jingle stuff. And he wanted me to do some work. And I'm like, man, it's a great opportunity. But I still was in that day where I was doing whatever I wanted to do, not really professional. I mean, I showed up on time, but my professionalism still needed some development. But I showed up to the studio. And I had a bass, a 6-string bass. I didn't have a jazz at that time. I wasn't making that kind of money. But I had a 6-string Ibanez, right? And it sounded pretty good. It had a nice sound to it for that time. But I showed up with dead strings. Now, anybody who's ever played a 6-string bass know when those strings die, especially on 6-string, you can really tell, especially playing on the last 2 strings, you definitely could tell. You see what I'm saying? You could definitely tell that it's that dead. No strings were so dead. I looked at the bass. It was like, I'm not making it. And when you plug it in, you can really hear it because when new strings are on there, it has that little zing in it, especially when you start to move around the neck. Pause. So he looks in front of everybody. Now, this studio is filled with people who don't look like me. I think, in fact, me and him were the only 2 African Americans in that whole entire studio at that time. This man ripped me ripped me up. Like, teach you, he was like, what you doing? You showed up to a professional studio without new strings. And then he told me in front of all these people, now you leave and go get some strings and don't come back until you got them all. I don't think that would have played well today with some of our musicians, unfortunately, in the church. Had that been said now, it would have been statuses left. They probably would have cussed him out. It probably would have been a fight. It would have been something else. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. Why? Because I really do feel today, no matter what you say, if it's a correction, some of them, not all of them, but some of them are going to lose their mind. And especially the ones that think they have arrived, they think their skill actually matches. Let me give you the news flash. Everybody can play out here. So if you can really play, you super dope on your instrument, and you still at home on your air mattress, then you got to really understand why. You really got to take a question. Why am I still at home? Because your reputation will precede you. What people say about you is going to be there before you. I said this last week. So when we say stuff like this, the older musicians, they say, back in my time, they could take correction. Now looking at it, was some of it, a lot of it, abuse? Absolutely. But I will never take back what Max Frank did for me, because I needed tough skin to go where I'm going. The stuff that we deal with even now, if you don't have tough skin, you're not going to make it. But the problem I really have, y'all Negroes in heat will do this in the church, but then when you go outside to the tours that you really want to do, you turn into Mother Teresa. Why the church can't get this? Why do your MDs at church can't get you to fall in line, can't get you to learn songs, can't get you to show up on time, can't get you to do nothing? But then what can't get you don't look at the messages. You expect us to babysit you and call you one-on-one. We putting out information, and you hit me up the day before talking about I didn't get that information. But y'all don't do that on tour. Y'all get these tours, then y'all start to, but some of that stuff I still think is residue. You still do that stuff, but you calm it way down. And because it's something I really want to do, which is a problem I have. Then don't get on Facebook talking about, God, you opened these doors. Because when it come down to the church or ministry that you call it, you gave us crap. But now that you playing for some iconic pop star that ain't saying a word of worship, you thanking God for the opportunity. Make it make sense for me. Make it make sense for me. But I don't think that that's true. I think the real you is what you show us. And the fake you is what you show the pop artists because you want to get ahead. Because being on the cover of a magazine means more to you than just doing your job that you was hired to do. You are paid. You don't do what you're supposed to do. But then people who have been in it, we want to rein you in that way. What you doing? Yeah, you got chops, but we don't need to hear all 500 of them in 2 songs, which bring me to this. One of the things I'm still trying to understand, and please don't kill me. I know I'm showing my age, but I got to ask this question. When I was coming up, we wanted to play for artists. I never really wanted to tour. I just wanted to play the records because in gospel music, touring is cool, but the records is what immortalize you over here. Now, it's different on the other side. They do these tours, and these tours pay well, and you get names, you get endorsements, and you get all of this stuff, right? So I understand. But I never wanted to do tours. And y'all come over here with the tour mentality, but you still at home. That's not a tour. Why we can't treat home right first, and then when it's there, you can bring that on. But y'all don't want to do that. Y'all don't want us to say nothing to you over here. And I don't understand that. We have harder times over in the church dealing with some of y'all and not want to be corrected, not want nobody to say nothing to you. If I so much as say, that's not the uniform, I get chewed out. Got to have a back and forth. And it ain't just at my church. It ain't just there. It ain't just there. So don't think I'm talking about you. It happens everywhere. It's like a pandemic in church where we always got musicians that if somebody say we don't smoke weed over here, it's a problem. We don't get drunk over here, there's a problem. We don't wear hats in here, there's a problem. We wear suits over here, there's a problem. Sound check starts at 6:45 or be at 6:50 to at least be before the praise team. There's a problem. I mean, at what point, please tell me, outside of getting on my knees and shining your knob, how am I supposed to talk to you when you've done wrong? Please, the floor is open. Please tell me. The floor is open. 'Cause I want to hear how you want us to correct you. Because if you can't take correction over here, let me give you this. We deal with more BS in the church and allow you to get away with it. When you go out there, they ain't gonna do that. Like he said, you are easily replaced. You being at home right now and not on tour should tell you that. That you are easily replaced. They've seen your videos. They've seen your moments or whatever. They've seen your viral videos. They've seen it. And for some reason, they still not calling you. That's a problem. Then you look up, you're 20 now. Then you're 25. Then you 30. Then you 35. Once you get to 35 and you're still trying to break into pop, it gets a little hard for you, pause. They want younger for a host of reasons that I won't get into, but they kind of look for younger musicians now, unless you are established. You proven that you can do it, they're going to call. And they going to want that. They're not going to really want to take a chance with somebody. So where's your level of correction that we can give you? Nobody connected to me. I want to see you do better than me. But here's the hard truth. The 2.0 version is usually better than 1.0 version, right? Y'all may be better in skill because you can do all the thinking we can't do that, but that's okay. Y'all can have that. That's subjective. You can have it. Outside of skill, what have you done that makes the second version better than the first? Because I don't see it in professionalism. I don't see it in attitude. I don't see it in a willingness to accept correction. The Bible speaks on this. Only a fool refuses correction. So if you, every time somebody say something, you got a problem, then it's you. Because even in this video, the stuff that they were saying, and why y'all so angry? There's a man that's older. Why y'all trying to fight him? Some of y'all there, he better not ever talk, I'll beat this. Of course you're going to beat his tail. He's 70. It may not be an easy win because, once those straps come out, I'm just saying. But why y'all trying to fight him? Because he said what we went through. Was it abuse? I will say yes, some of it was. But it definitely made me a better musician. It made me a better professional. It showed me one thing, if nothing else, these opportunities that you get. I could have been doing jingles all the way and not hit the road running up the street with some of y'all choirs that only want to pay me $150 to learn 13 songs. I would have been doing jingles. I personally think, honestly, being transparent, I messed up that opportunity. I messed that up by my unprofessionalism. Something simple as putting strings on that he told me to do before the gig, and I decided to not do it, thinking that, it's not important. My unprofessionalism may have cost me an opportunity to be doing more jingles. And I really believe that in my heart of hearts. We can't be to the point where nobody can say nothing to us. We can't be at that point, y'all. Because even with some videos that I've seen, even some videos where people actually said something to help, regardless of how they look, you decided to go at any point of correction.
Last point, then I'm done. I'm looking at a lot of gifted people in this room. A lot of amazingly talented, gifted people in this room. The problem is, gifted people are the most dangerous people in church. My brother, you know why gifted people are the most dangerous people in church? Because your gift will work without the anointing. I know it's, well, we need the anointing to destroy yokes. You do.
Now, don't think we gonna let this happen without me saying something about a couple of things here. But let me continue. I'm not gonna let this whole thing play, but let's listen a little bit further.
But your gift will still work without it. This makes you now dangerous because you could be operating week after week out of your gift and never have a relationship with God. You know how many gifted musicians I know who ain't saved? I mean, killing every Sunday. They bumping and dancing to their music. High, smelling like weed, drunk, just gifted. The gift works. Think about what's your favorite R&B singer? They ain't anointed. They're just gifted. That's why you like their music. Gifted people are dangerous because being gifted really requires not much effort. Why? Because it's a gift.
Okay. There was more to it. He opened up with saying we're Levites. I disagree. I don't necessarily get down there. I used to be a Hebrew Israelites, so I kind of got a good understanding of what these tribes were and everything else. So I never was one to subscribe to you're Levites or you spiritual Levites. I like to leave that at the door, but I don't excoriate people who say that unless they attack me for not believing what they believe. That's the only way. But we can debate. I don't believe there are Levites, but I'm not against people calling their musicians Levites. I'm not against that. I'm not that, I'm not that person. I'm not that, what they call it, Pharisaic, where you just going at people just for every little thing. It's got to be this. I used to be that, like I said, when I was a Hebrew Israelite, but I've learned to give people grace that I desire from me. I may not always be right. My opinions may be totally wrong, or you may totally disagree. Opinions can't be wrong, but you could totally disagree with an opinion, especially if I didn't present it as fact, right? But he went on to say something about the gift. Anointing is still something I may do a live on. I'm still on the fence with that. I hate when they be like, he gifted, but he anointed. But if you sit 10 musicians in, tell me which one is anointed. You would choose the one that know how to play and make you cry, but that's not necessarily true. I think we probably need to do a little bit more homework of what this anointing is that we push every week. And it's only really in the charismatic church that you will have this discussion about who's anointed and who's not. And I can do it. I'm not going to do it this week. It's going to have to get pushed. But he said that. But tell me, what did he say in the little thing that was more offensive than, I don't know him, but I met him. He has come to Powerhouse. The pants, I know some of you ripped them up about the solid gold pants. I don't know where. Now, y'all know if I was to stand up right now, my style is a little edgy, has become a little bit more edgy. I'm a little bit more expressive. I would wear the suits and everything that fit what you think I should be wearing. But when I'm comfortable and I want to, I will dress. Never nothing like that, though. But they still ripped this dude up in the comment section. Just ripped him up. Not on this one, but in a couple of groups I'm in, yeah, they ripped him up. And then that's why I said, what form of correction can we get? What form of correction or information would you absorb? Is it just praise and worship with you? Because I can write you a praise and worship song right now. I got basses behind me. I can pull up the bass and let praise and worship begin in your honor. But please tell me, as an older musician to the younger generation of musicians, what form of correction or information could you digest without any pushback, you threatening violence and guns? Nothing he said here was nothing that you would want to fight. You could say you agree. You could say you don't agree. I'm not saying I disagree with everything he said. The Levite part, I expressed that already. The anointing part, there's ambiguity there. But this part, I didn't really care either way. I can probably go either way with it. But certainly it didn't make me want to say, be disrespectful, sit your blank down, oh, nobody listening to you, or who the F you think you, come on, y'all. And we church musicians talking this way, so we can't even speak to you in a spiritual way without you getting aggressive. So as one older musician, I ain't taking no whoopings, first of all. I ain't. That's not happening. You ain't worth me fighting. I'm not trying to fight none of you. And I'm telling you right now, I am not going to fight any of you. So this is not that. It's that other thing. It's that other thing. I don't fight for stupid stuff like this because you can't take correction. Why are we violent? For what? We church musicians. We chanksters. Half of us ain't never been in the game. But now we get in our 30s and 40s and 50s, and now we want to pull up? What, we going to fight in wheelchairs? We going to fight over our AARP checks? I mean, what's happening here? No. So I ask you, just humbly, I wish I could play music. I ask you humbly, please tell me, brothers, sisters, in what way would you want correction? Is this better? Hey, Johnny, I noticed that you was... No, I'm not going to do the beat.
This one. Hi, Johnny. How are you? You played so wonderfully today. You blessed me beyond. I literally see stars of heaven circulating around the ministry. I wanted to just cry tears of gladness. Thank you. I noticed that you wore a hat and you wasn't supposed to. So please, as I worship and adore you, don't wear a hat in church next week, okay? Please, don't hurt me. I'm just trying to help you.
That's what y'all need. Congratulations. You said that voice is creepy. It really is, but that's what I'm thinking that needs to happen. You know, like, I'm going to give you my sweetest, most wonderful voice so that you can understand. Now, there are times where musicians have the right to be upset. They do. They have the right to be upset, especially when stuff like this happens.
They go up to the top of Mount Carmel, and that's when Elijah makes a statement. You're not in the right key. You're not in the right key. Thank you, dear. I want you to follow me. Follow me.
Let's watch that again, cause let's watch it again.
They go up to the top of Mount Carmel, and that's when Elijah makes a statement. You're not in the right key. You're not in the right key. Thank you, dear. I want you to follow me. Follow me.
I thought the dude was in the right key at first. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't have perfect pitch. But he seemed like he was in the right key at first, and then Donnie kind of raised it up and then put him on blast. See, it's that kind of stuff I understand, because that drew all the attention to you, and it made you look like you was bad, and because everybody worships this artist, everybody looking at you like you wrong. I get that frustration. So we as leaders and we as people who are working with these musicians, we got to make sure that we don't treat them like we wouldn't want to be treated. I still don't think this is bad. I probably would laugh to be like, whatever, played it off. I got a little tough skin. I have tough skin. But everybody may not have this level of tough skinness, if that's a word. My wife would probably be like, me, no, nothing. But I think the dude was right. I think the musician was right. And then Donnie took it to the next level. We can't do that, y'all. Let's stop now. We can do our part. We can't say to musicians, y'all don't want to be corrected, but our correction is wrong. Because what example are we setting if we bring correction and it's proven in error? Now, had he gone back and watched this, the same way you put this musician on blast, you need to be on your very next live or concert, be like, hey, that musician was right, I was wrong. That would make everybody look different, be like, okay, yeah, all right. I think that needs to happen. And the bad thing about it in our churches, we see people going at people and they give private apologies. I want to push for public apologies. You can correct me in public, but you dang well better be able to apologize to me in public. That's all I got to say. Don't do that. But one thing that's not forgiven in church that I think should never be is when you let stuff like this happen.
My hands and say, Lord, thank you for the spirit of prayer. I smell it too. Amen. I know you smell it. Ooh, that thing's strong. Ooh, somebody let one go in here. Ooh, somebody got a major breakthrough. I mean, that thing's strong. I see everybody fan. I said, I smell it too. I'm preaching, but that thing is strong. Whoever that is, something up in there died. I mean, because it didn't just stay in a certain place. That thing moved over the face of the waters. That thing lingered. I was trying to preach through it, but that thing would not release.
Question: have you ever smelt that night? Listen, I play with musicians, unfortunately, and not just at my church. Please don't think I'm talking about them. But there has been some reek that has happened at places that I've been at, from musicians, from whatever. And the reek came in different levels. Sometimes it smelled like boo-boo. Sometimes it smelled like a urinary tract infection. And sometimes it smelled like bumblebee tuna. I mean, I've smelled everything you could ever imagine. If you were a preacher and you smelled it, do you think you would have done this, though? I don't know, because had that person been me that I had to let it out, I would have been totally embarrassed. I would have been totally embarrassed. Now, one thing I did, and I'm sorry for the same dude that I actually had to go at earlier to begin the show, there was something that was happening in the church, right? And I actually went out and I got some air freshener and I sprayed it. I don't know if TJ's still watching, but he saw it. I sprayed it and I made a mistake and I sprayed it too close to him and it kind of got on him. I didn't mean to do that. I really did not. I meant nothing by that because, to be fair, we have a baptismal pool over there, and you know how like water gets in carpet, and it's that what they call that it's like a padding in between the carpet and the floor. It looks like a little vanilla color. When that gets wet and it's not picked up right away or shampooed, it does leave a smell. So when I was so frustrated because I can't deal with really, really hard smells like that, they tend to be, too much for me, right? And so I was wrong, and I'm sorry for that. I think I said it to him. It wasn't you. It wasn't you. I should not have done that, but I was so angry. I was so mad because I'm tired of smelling profane proclivities up in the musician sessions. Look, musicians, I'm going to say this. I love you, but y'all need to do something about this. There should not be a thing where they say musicians stink. That should not be a thing. Nah, but I apologized to him, and I did, and even publicly, I admit that I was wrong. I should never have done that, and I didn't do it since. Now, if I feel like it, I'll pull you to the side, and we'll have a discussion as men, as we should do. Now, we've had fun with the farts. Man, if you went to a church and they called up the preacher to preach, and you was playing for her, I gotta say something. When I was coming up, the Spirit told me not to say it, but he said, go ahead, this is the time. I'm gonna show the video first. If you was watching somebody preach and they was walking around like this with that tight thing on, I might need to do some editing that y'all gonna see me do. Hold on, let me make sure. No meat, babe. Y'all gonna see me do some edits. I should do it live where I teach you how to do this stuff. Let it fit the screen. Okay, now you see what she has on, y'all. Is this acceptable for church? Is that acceptable for church? And if you was a musician playing for her, would you be okay with this? Like, how would you feel about that? I don't know if that's acceptable for church. That was too much for me. All the legs and stuff showing. But let me say this to my musician friends. When I was coming up, we wanted to do tours. I wanted to play records, but musicians wanted to do tours. We wanted to be with an artist or playing with an artist. We wanted that, right? I'm not knocking you, but I really want to understand. When I used to post, I never really posted it, but I did when I had, this gonna show my age, when it was MySpace, I used to post all my dates. Everything that I had coming up, studio sessions, gigs, tours, whatever. I used to post it on that little calendar. Those of you who knew MySpace, you knew what I'm talking about, right? But now we glorify playing behind preachers. Like it's a tour. Like you're going on a gig and I'm going out. I'm not knocking you. I just want to know, why is that a thing now? Has playing preachers 2, 3, 4 up 5, does that equal out to playing for X artist? Is that the thing? Because I just have a hard time with it. I'm sorry, I do. Because when I was coming up, playing for a preacher was good. It was an honor, but we never treated it like it was a real thing. But church has changed. You know, we do put these preachers up like they artists. But for me, just help a brother out. Is that a thing? Is that a thing? Why and why? Why you think about that? Let me show you this real clip.
We praise you, oh Lord. We praise you, oh Lord. Come on, we magnify. We praise you, oh Lord.
Why is he doing a Michael Jackson? I'm only playing this, giving you.
Come on, we magnify.
My child would have got whooped. I'm sorry. That would have been a whooping. But now, answer my question. Is that a thing now? Should I be accepting of that being a thing now? That's the thing that's bothering me. And it brings me to my next point. There's a discussion happening. I'm about to jump off in like 10 minutes. But there's a discussion happening now. And I saw a video from the motherland. And I've been wanting to touch on this thing for a while now. And now that we hear, I want to have this discussion. Watch this video, and then we're going to actually talk about it.
Even the sound engineer has to be skillful. If you listen to Hillsong, all the lead singers sound the same. It's a skilled professional sound engineer that they've paid to ensure that everybody sounds as crisp. Now, without reverb, this is how my voice will sound. The problem I have with church is sound engineers don't know what they are doing. Some sound engineers, yet they go and stand there and behave like they know what they are doing, yet they are destroying the whole atmosphere. Lead vocalists are struggling, say we're struggling. They will look at you arrogantly. Like, what are you doing? Keep on singing.
Now, I'm from the school of thought. I just had a talk with an engineer, sound engineer that I really respect. And we talked for about an hour today. It was a great conversation. We talked about a host of things. But I was asking his opinion on this thing. And I think a lot of churches, as we move and we progress to a more techie church, where we're using more production in our church. I know my wife hates it. I'm kind of okay with it. But it's important to me to have a better understanding of what sound is. When I was coming up, deacons did sound. You know, if you didn't play in the band or younger people wanted to run sound, that was their thing, right? And so nobody really took it seriously. Now we're here in 2026. Sound is a thing. Almost to the degree, which brings me to my next question. Musicians, sound, in the church in 2026, which one is more important? That's a good question for me. If I had a good sound engineer and just okay musicians, would my church flourish? Or would if I had a great musician staff, but it's just an okay sound engineer, would the church flourish? When I'm saying flourish, I'm talking about like people in the audience, their experience. Because believe it or not, a lot of the people in the church, they may say our sound is great, but our band is, or the music ministry is, But they may say the music ministry is lit, but I don't know if that's still a thing y'all say. But they say it's great, but the sound is up. I think being a sound man in church today, especially Pentecostal, charismatic black church, is probably one of the most difficult jobs in the world. Because for one, you have to deal with this.
You know, in the industry that I work in, thank you, sound man, keep working with me. Just make me hot, make me feel it all around me. You know, in the industry that I'm in, so many people, I see some people that I...
So you as a sound engineer, your job is to make him hot. Your job is to make him hot and to make him feel it all around him. Ooh, Jesus. To make him feel hot. To make it woo, I don't know, bro. That's super duper pause with a twist, if you ask me. Like, for real, like, bro.
Pause.
Yeah, pause. I'm thinking, I think it's unfair what sound dudes go through. I think it's unfair that we do put a lot of our problems on them. I think it's, from a musician standpoint, we should understand as musicians that it's not easy to do sound, especially when you are fighting in a room. Most of our churches are not treated. And no matter what they do, that room is angry, and that room is like a dang on ninja. Especially you deal with churches that have these big, y'all want these big old ceilings and everything else. Well, guess what? Every inch of this church needs to be soundproofed, because no matter what, no matter how loud you get it, it's still going to bounce around and it's going to sound like ping pongs. And bodies are actually secondary soundproof things. They sound absorbents. But like, say for instance, you have a rehearsal, nobody's in the audience, sound is everywhere. I think we give sound engineers more grief than they deserve. I'm guilty. I left a post saying I want to bring a rig back in the church because y'all don't do right. I said that. I left it as a post. But my not thinking, and I had to repent, I still brought a rig in, but it wasn't because they didn't do right. My issue was, bass players, we like to feel that pulse, that air moving from a speaker. We're used to that deep, like if we hit that low, I'm tuned to A now. So when I hit that A, that open, that room should explode, no pause. It should be there, especially on a ballad. When I don't know if y'all bass players tune to A, but that's probably the best thing. And some of y'all even going low as A flat. I don't know. You hearing? That's all you hearing. That was a pause, by the way. But when I hit that low A, that room should move. I understand what sound engineers go through, because they can't just think of Derek. They can't just think of the keyboard players. And y'all keyboard players, I love you to death, but y'all be killing me. How the heck you expect him to mix you right when you got 18 things layered up in that thing? You got strings, horns, synth, 4 pianos, and then you got some clucking chickens somewhere up in there in samples, and then you want us to play this stuff right. I think a lot of the reasons why they battle with us is because we don't know what we doing. We got so many things happen. You got organists playing in the same key register as the keys, and so you say, I can't hear organ. You're playing in the same register. Your settings are off. Bass players, we still got to understand, when the church is big, like a big ceiling, you can't run 40 hertz, 60 hertz, even 120 hertz to its max. It is going to be lost. Mid-ranges should work better for you in those kinds of places. Bump the mids just a little bit, because that low is going to sound like woo, 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 woo. So I think a lot of it is our ignorance. My ignorance included. Now, I've noticed the trend of musicians going over to sound. I think that's a wonderful thing because they can better understand what we go through. And most of these guys that I work with are musicians. They were musicians or are still musicians. And they've gone over to do sound. I have no problem. I love it. So they understand better, but we even give them a hard time. It is not our fault. Now, Rob, I love Rob to death, but he left a comment that I kind of disagree with. He said something about the KZs being cheap or whatever. Here's the thing. Now, I do have some expensive headphones here. I do got some expensive in-ears here. They sent them to me to try. I love them, but I only use them at certain occasions. So I will go get some KZs because it's, it's about insolvency. I'm not going to use my main ones like that and just wear them out. I got some everyday ones. I like my KZs. I'm used to them. I understand the sound, which is crazy. Back in the day, those Yamaha little speakers with the white heads, paws on them, people mixed on those. Now, my speakers here, they some real joints over here. I pay some real money for these speakers I got over here. But people could mix in those. I think they was the NS10s or something like that. People mixed in those. So I don't really think it's about paying more money for the ears. I think it's about what you are comfortable with, what your ears are used to hearing. Because if you can mix on headphones, you can mix records. I know people mix records on headphones. And here I am with these expensive speakers that probably ain't really been blasted since I've been here. I turn them on when I'm mixing for reference, but people hear what they want to hear. They can understand what's, their ears. So I don't think that's the thing. I really think that there's something that they're not hearing and they're coming to you as a sound engineer to help. The NS10s, thank you. Still mix on those. So I don't think that there's an issue with Soundman. It's not an issue we have with you. It's just certain things that we want to hear and we expect to hear it, not understanding what you have to deal with. Soundmen can't not just focus on us in a church or a place where there's not a stage mix, a person that deals with our mix, a person that deals with the house, and then a person that deals with stream. And I'm pretty sure you're not going to find too many ministries that get them all right every time, every week. You're not. And I think we should take that into consideration before we start to get up on Facebook or anywhere ripping them up like we do. We don't have to do stuff like that. We want more organ in house and monitors. Put them keys under the organ. God bless. This is not something that we should be posting, really. And I'm guilty. I won't do it again unless, of course, you suck. But I'm not going to do stuff like this. Let the sound engineers do the job that they've been hired to do. They have to worry about vocals, and they have to worry about the vocals and the vocal mic screaming, because these vocal people be wanting them. When I was learning how to mix, they said vocals on top. Y'all be wanting them vocals way up here. How many times have I mixed the song and be like, bring the vocals up? The vocals is piercing my eardrums. But they want them vocals hot. So you got to say, okay, the person that's paying me want the vocal hot, but the band want to hear themselves. And everybody is an engineer until it's time to sit at the board. Everybody, if a sound man said, well, y'all, I'm going to leave, y'all do it on your own, we would crash and burn every time, no matter who it is. And some of you people think you great sound engineers and you really not. You just know gear. Knowing gear and knowing how to operate it is a totally different thing. I thought I knew an SSL board until I sat at one. Now I can run an SSL board, the E-Series. I love it. But I couldn't. I know the sound. I thought. I know what the EQs do. I thought. But when you sitting at that board, you should shut your mouth right then and there, because now you face to face with a demon. And how many times have y'all thrown your tail up on stream and it sounded like buns while you really critiqued everybody else? It's easy to run your mouth until it's time to do it. We could give these people a little bit of grace. Sound engineers don't just care about musicians, even the ones that are musicians. They have to worry about vocals. They have to worry about us. They have to worry about what the people are hearing, because there's people up in there don't want you super loud. They don't want you super loud. They want it to be a good balance. And if you have not been trained by a great sound engineer, then the only thing you are doing is speaking your little facts that you think, that you learned. So I'm here to lay as a musician that doesn't do live sound. I do studio stuff. I know this stuff like the back of my hand. But the first time I had to do it, it sounded so bad that I refused to even listen to it. It sounded bad. Woo! It was bad. It was super bad, y'all. I ain't even gonna hold you. Never gonna post it. Never gonna post it. And these people literally have to deal with your critiques every week. Let's show them a little grace, y'all. Let's show these sound engineers grace. Now, sound engineers, y'all can't be funny, because y'all see y'all deal with some of the stuff that we deal with. Y'all still have to be on time. Y'all still have to make sure everything is routed. Y'all need to make sure that you're checking. I don't want to hear lead vocals in my bass track. I don't. But God bless y'all for being so patient, because especially the ones that y'all do them to us, I hate them packs. I hate them packs. Marvin Sapp gig is the only gig I've ever done in my entire life where the packs actually sounded pretty decent. Everybody else, y'all crashing and burning. But I'm saying all this to say, I love you. Don't mess up my sound. We will do better. I think we have a better connection, because without either of us, the service goes down. Without either of us, the live performance, even on R&B, goes down. Thank you, Rob, for giving these nuggets for those of us who want to do sound. Thank you for doing that. He's actually on tour. He takes time out. Rob Woolwich, he takes time out and he gives these nuggets. Rob can be really, really, really direct. And some people don't understand his being direct, and it can come across as a shot, but you listen to him, he has great points. Don't get mad at the sound engineer if you can't sing. Don't get mad at the sound engineer if you don't know your instrument. Don't get mad at the sound engineer that you can't even blend with the person. You don't listen. Don't get mad at the sound engineer if you need to work on your craft. Let me close with this. And here I come. Here I come. Pause. Sound check is not time to do a secondary rehearsal. Now you're hand tying the sound man. That is not your time to work out what you should have worked out at home. Musicians, and I'm talking to you, don't come to sound check trying to run over intros and outros. That's not the time to do that. That's the time to make sure that your line and everything is going right so you can be prepared for service. If you come up in church or in the next service not prepared, that is not on you. Y'all better be glad I'm not the sound man. No, we're not doing that. Snare, kick, hi-hat. We doing the sound check the way it should go, and it should go like that every week. Snare, hat, tom 1, tom 2, tom 3, then bass, keys, organ, guitar, horns, now vocals. Not for you to get together and try to run over something that you didn't get. That's why we have rehearsal. I'm not saying you, now once everything is all together and we did that, go knock yourself out, because we do need to do a good run through with a song so they can see what it sounds like together. But the sound check ain't for y'all to have rehearsal. And too many of us do that. We guilty on it on a professional realm. We guilty on it Sunday mornings. We guilty. We all guilty. We all can work on this. But in my professional opinion, sound check should be tom 1, tom 2, tom 3, snare, overheads, hats, kick, bass drums together, lead. You see what I'm saying? It should follow the same format. And I'm really, my goal this year is to have our ministries operating like they do in the real world with that level of excellence. That's my goal. But we need the people to do it. And this is just part of it. That's a sound check. Okay? Hope that blessed you. Bro, you can load a song and soon it will sound good. Don't let my wife see that. My wife see that, she gonna be mad. She hate that junk. She hates Suno. I don't have a problem with Suno. My wife does. I don't. I've literally made a Trump song on Suno. I've used AI, the whole thing. I'm not going to post it. It's a lot of cussing in that song. But yeah, I made a Trump video. It's crazy, y'all. And I used all AI. All AI. AI for the lyrics, AI for the music, AI for the video, AI for the colors, AI for this whole thing was done using AI. If you hit my inbox, I send it to you, but it was using AI. Look, y'all, we got to get this thing together. I think we're a long ways from AI taking over the industry like we think it is, but we got to get it together. We got to come up with something, because that was scary. Now that I look at it, it's kind of scary. You can still tell us AI, but technology is going to get better. But one thing AI cannot do, it cannot reproduce emotion. It cannot reproduce feel. It cannot reproduce any of that stuff that makes us as musicians and creative. It makes us a step above that. We can do this. The songs that I literally saw my wife play when she played for Alessia Cara, I was kind of moved by some of them songs. Some of them was like, okay, yeah, right. You wrote this story some times in life. I love you, though. I think she's a wonderful. I would love, man, I ain't going to tell you too much, but I loved that show. I loved it. But I don't think AI can reproduce what she does. I don't think AI can reproduce what we do on Sunday mornings. So, yeah, I need to see that. Okay, I'll send it to you. It can never replace, AI can never replace a musician or the singer. It can't replace the emotions, what we do, like the expressiveness and everything else. Like AI can't get up and control the room. Like Jill Scott can get up and control the room and make you be like, oh, like I said, Alessia, like some stuff she did in her show that I know AI cannot do. Ricky Dillard or any of our gospel artists, AI can't do what Leandra does. Leandra in her element is probably one of the best I've seen, and that's just my opinion. But when we was on tour, that woman got up there and sang one song and had everybody in that stadium crying. That woman got it. She got the it factor that I was talking about earlier. She does. Praise the God of the Bible. Hey, Anthony's very talented too. I've been opening up my show with his It Shall Come to Pass. I did it differently because I had to do that earlier, but he does have a video out. Anthony McGahee and Praise Motivated, they have a video out. Let me leave with this, and I'm coming. Give me like 2 minutes. Pause. Video, y'all. You should not release singles or records without video in 2026. If you are trying to break in and people to get to know you, you have to give them something to see. We are in a visual society now. Music alone, no matter how good you think it is literally not going to do it in 2026. No more of this. No more of that. Video. Don't put a single out unless you're going to push it with some video. People need to see you. They need to see you perform. God bless you in your ministry. We'll be back next Monday. I got to talk about it. Y'all not going to like it if you're in the charismatic church, but I still love you in Jesus' name. Have a great evening.